where we explore science, strategy, and the story behind laboratory medicine. I'm Stat Stephanie.
I'm Melody.
I'm a Odie.
Yeah, and today we're diving into something a little bit different, but it's really critical for every laboratory professional. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about leadership in the age of AI.
That's right. Specifically, we're going to be talking about Kasif's Zayman's model, which I probably butchered his name. He's an AI strategist. He's got a book on Amazon about agentic leadership, which is a cutting-edge approach that combines human insights with AI-driven decision-making.
Okay, so what is agentic leadership? And why should we care in the lab?
So at its core, it's a leadership framework that treats AI not just as a tool, but as a partner.
Yeah, it's about using AI for predictive analytics, trend detection, and workflow optimization. So kind of that operational bucket of AI, while the humans in leadership focus on judgment, ethics, and emotional intelligence.
Okay, sounds exciting. Hey, let's go do it.
Let's get to it.
Instruments give you data, which is incredibly precise, but your instruments can't prioritize patient impact, they can't mentor staff, and they can't navigate unexpected workflow disruptions. That's where our human leadership comes in.
Right. For example, in a hospital lab, AI might flag a rise in abnormal blood chemistries across the patient population. Think like potassium or something like that. And agentic leadership means using that insight to guide teams, communicate risks, and make ethical patient-centered decisions, not just reacting to the number. So more broad-based of this would be like, let's say you have a cancer center and you treat those hemoglobins differently than you do the hemoglobins on your main campus, right? Like having algorithmic workflows to make decisions, AI can assist with those types of things.
Yeah, so I mean, laboratory medicine is a unique environment.
Okay, that's true. And so I guess we have to consider labs at the intersection of patient care, data, and compliance when we talk about AI. And there's a lot of barriers to that. So like, Steph, I know you have a big lab. Can you think of any barriers off the top of your head when it comes to AI integration?
Well, I think the integration part, I think one of the biggest barriers is most laboratories know what AI is conceptually, but we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know what we need versus what we don't need. I mean, there's a lot of gray area, there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of theory still involved, and I think many people are just searching for what do I need to know, and how can this best integrate into my lab's workflow, and how can this, improve our patient care and what we're doing, or are these just really pretty dashboards that we're creating,
Yeah.
As a quality guy, yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, from a quality perspective, Aaron, like, what do you think? What do you think is good or not? Because I think about the validation and how hard that would be with an AI system. So
I would definitely say general compliance in general, you're touching on the fact that understanding wise, a lot of people don't really have a good understanding of what AI is used for and what it can be used for in the lab. And even some people are unaware of just the fact that it's already here, that it's already integrated into some of their workflows. So that kind of initial scariness of, oh, it's AI, when you're like, no, it's already been here, you're using it, it's working well. That level of comfort there, but then like you kind of mentioned about with compliance, who with machine learning and things, who's actually the one that's building the databases, and is it something that we need to be doing in the hospital level, or can we actually trust our vendor? And then patient information as well. Are we going to be putting, what barriers are going to be there to prevent patient info from going into places where they shouldn't be?
Yeah, like your AI, I think you're talking about like your infrastructure.
Yeah.
From HIT's perspective, but you're also talking about the ethics of it, which are huge stop points, I think, in healthcare. But it seems like we're more open to like generative AI, right, which can do a lot of things. Like think ChatGPT is an example of that. And what's been proposed a little bit with the agentic laboratory leadership, or just leadership, not really laboratory leadership, the guy's not a lab guy, but if we're looking at it from that way, it's this idea that we can enhance decision making, we can support staff emotionally, and there's been some work done in these spaces with like older adults and other individuals where like chat GPT and having that ability to have a conversation with an AI bot actually does help people. Decisions can get massive data sets in seconds. Humans can contextualize results for patient safety if we're talking that way. From a lab perspective. And I also think like, lab works is very high stakes and it's often underappreciated. We know that, right? That's part of SUPERSTAT, the origin of it, right? Comes out of that. And so, I will say I don't think AI can really support the staff fully emotionally. Like I get the point that like it can to some degree like help them, but it's not going to provide like retention and performance feedback like a leader would. But it could help leaders adapt to new change, rapid change. Regulations are constant, they're wordy. And so like if you had an ability for something generative to like summarize that for you, to function in like an agile team that embraces change quicker and like understands why we're all there. I don't know. I mean, I think there's pros.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think it's definitely not just theory. It's about survival and excellence in a modern day laboratory. I was looking at my kids and we were having a conversation. If you know me very well, I have two small children, and I was thinking they're not going to know a world where there was dial-up internet or no internet. And we on this call are all grateful enough to have lived through an era, and many different eras where we can experience, hey, there were no cell phones when we were younger and there was no internet. And my kids and future kids will never be able to say, I lived in a world where there was no AI. And so we're moving into an era where our workforce will have completed, their undergraduate, their graduate degrees, their clinical rotations, all with AI as part of their journey through their career and their understanding of how the healthcare system works. And so the quicker that as leaders we can kind of get on board and understand how this can help us and understand how others are seeing it as a benefit, then we can continue to incorporate it into our leadership and our staff.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's interesting for me as a leader is like you do have like 1,000 things going on all the time, and like competing priorities. And maybe AI could help with some of that, like help with scheduling or help with, I think using the tools in your toolkit, right? We talk about that a lot.
I will say I can spot an AI generated email like really quickly.
Yeah. I'm starting to do that a little bit more, but like I will I'll still write it out myself and like try to like and tweak some of the wording because it does sound very
it's not templatey, I guess.
Very I don't know. But sometimes you don't know how to reply to people.
Make this sound friendly.
And then they let you know if it's too aggressive or not. Yeah, well, with education with students, you can tell. Like with I started with some case studies, and they all had similar case studies, and it was all the same kind of verbiage. You see the same organism, and then the same like how they're phrasing things, and you're like, okay, this is AI. We're moving away from the assignment. So we kind of touched on a couple things in our lab setting about just AI literacy. We talked a little bit about that. We've talked about ways we can integrate it in. And it does allow you to those mundane kind of tasks if you're in leadership where it'll generate your meeting minutes. It'll recap meetings if you're in a hurry, giving you that time to actually work with people and focus on other things. So I think it's just building on those basic skills and finding ways we can build more literacy. But what do you guys think?
So I think too, what he's kind of getting at in the book and just the idea, I haven't read the whole book, so I should say that I've perused it. So like
you didn't AI generate a summary, did you?
I could generate ChatGPT can generate a summary for me later, maybe. But I need to finish it. The gist of it though is like it's really about still having human oversight, and looking at AI recommendations with context, I mean, obviously from a laboratory perspective, we're talking patient safety, ethical considerations with HIPAA, all these things. And then like diffused responsibility is a huge thing. Like who actually, if you turn out something and you make a decision from it, is it the AI's fault? Is it my fault? Those types of things I think we still don't have figured out. And we haven't really discussed a lot as a laboratory community. And so I don't know. I think
Yeah.
that's consideration too. How do we start? We got to start there.
And if you just think about everything that's happening, not just in healthcare, but in the world right now, in this, World Health Organization landscape, let's talk about the importance of emotional support and trauma informed care and really, being there for our team as people, with regular check ins, with mentorship, with guidance, with acknowledgement and recognition. Even the most advanced AI systems can't talk to your team and motivate them like a person would, like you can, from just being there. As a leader, sometimes your attitude is the weather in your team. Like if you come in anxious, everybody else is going to be anxious. If you come in
Yeah.
upset, everybody else is going to be upset. But if you come in supportive and helpful and recognizing people and motivating people, then your team will have a better culture, and AI can't replace that. And again, it's that adaptive mindset. We do need to, reinvent our workflows and understand our protocols, and look at the leadership types that are in our environments. AI can highlight trends, but humans need to still be there to respond and to make decisions and to actually talk to our team.
Yeah, and I think you hit on a great thing about how you're the thermostat for the team
Mhm.
often. And also, like, it comes with trust. If you don't trust the systems that you're using in the health system or in the lab, like, people know. It's very evident. And so, when we talk about AI, trust is a big part of that. Safety is a big part of that. Ethics, transparency, and how it's built. Can we use it with confidence? And that also, like, if you embrace that and you have a good validation strategy and you're working toward that, then it can help reduce resistance around teams. There's been some great studies where people have started using it for scheduling and for
Mhm.
things like that. And it's really, really helped customer service, like, and it's really, really helped those markets. But we just haven't seen it used in that capacity yet for healthcare. So might be a
Yeah.
good time. Who
No, I
knows?
know. And to kind of build off of that, even I've heard about physicians that are starting to use the AI to kind of help with their notes, their
Mm-hmm.
clinical notes. But you're going back and reviewing those as well. But um, all really great points. Angelic learning, leadership. Um, it's not that replacement for our good leadership, and we kind of both all touched on that. It just kind of amplifies it, like any tool. Like when we were learning about the internet came up, it was like, oh, is this going to replace people? No, it became a tool. So just with AI, it's going to have to be that tool that we use to either help us lead, because you can't replace a good leader. Like Stat Stephanie mentioned, it's you do set the pace for your team. You do set the mood, and if you come in that sour pickle face kind of mentality, the little throwback there, um, you can ruin the entire feel for the lab and the momentum that you're building. So you have to be that kind of strong leader. So these can be tools that can help you do that.
Yeah, hashtag pickle juice. And if you know, you know.
Hmm.
You know.
If you know, you know. So,
Yeah.
Melanie, as you've been leaning into the book and just the learnings more about this, what are the concrete examples and practice that you've kind of noticed that listeners?
Framing is really important so you kind of know which bucket you're talking about, operational and internal and external. So I'm going to give an internal example, which means it's affecting the laboratory only. In the words, like, we can manage it ourselves. It's an internal process. And so that for me would be like using AI to predict reagent shortages. Systems can flag a potential supply gap. And if you've been in a lab any length of time, you have supply gaps, or you have recalls, or you have situations where you have lot sequestering challenges. So all of these things are like real things that we could have.
Yeah.
And so if you're an agentic leader and you're using AI to help you be alerted to these types of scenarios that could happen with your industry partners. You're assessing the impact from those AI insights. You're communicating anything you need to outside and externally. You're reallocating your resources in real time because the AI is constantly real time updating. And then it allows you as the leader to spend time coaching staff on your adapting schedules. So where the AI has alerted you and there's not the paper, everybody gets the paper in the mail that tells them that something's on recall and like you haven't looked at it in forever. That kind of stuff doesn't really happen anymore, right? Because the AI is picking up on that. The lab runs smoothly, patients are cared for, teams feel supported.
Yeah, but again, we want to emphasize that without human leadership, all of those same AI alerts can create panic and miscommunication and lead to errors.
Yeah. So it sounds like angelic leadership might be the future. It's looking pretty promising. I'm almost convinced. Where AI and humans can kind of work together, not against each other. This is not the Terminator movies. To age myself terribly. It's about precision. So yes, we're going to work together, but we also need empathy. We need ethics. We need adaptability. So it's just not a one and done. We're always going to be kind of working and process improving.
Yeah, and if you're a lab leader out there, the takeaway is very simple. We want to embrace AI, but still lead with humanity. We want AI to help us with all the wonderful examples that we mentioned, but nothing can replace you as a leader. So after all, the numbers matter, but the people in you and your team and your environment matter more.
That's right. So thank you for tuning into SUPERSTAT. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you're leading a lab team, take a moment this week to ask, can I support my team while leveraging tools at my disposal, which include AI?
We want to hear from you. How's your lab integrating AI while maintaining the human-centered leadership? So share your stories with us on LinkedIn or Instagram, and make sure you hashtag SUPERSTAT. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.